I started to cross on that one. I was like, Lisa loves quiche. Today on Lisa Loves Food, we're making a quiche with homemade buttery crust, bacon, spinach, oven-dried tomatoes, feta, and Asiago cheese. Quiche. Essentially, a fancy egg pie. And who doesn't love eggs and pie? In fact, the only thing better than pie for dessert is pie for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's a savory pie, and you can get super creative with the fillings and work with whatever leftovers you have in the fridge. Now, I've had quiche emergencies, I'll admit, where I got a frozen pie crust at the grocery store, and it's fine. But if you really want to push this over the edge, and you have just a little bit of time, this is going to be outrageous. Today on Lisa Loves Quiche. First, I'm going to show you how to make this pie crust. Now, it's simple and rustic, so don't get intimidated thinking it's a big project. In fact, I even double this one to make fruit pies and chicken pot pie. It's a great little easy recipe. Start with a stick of butter, unsalted, all-purpose flour, a little salt, and some ice water. Just need a few splashes. Cube up that stick of butter. Now, the only thing I want you to be precise with is not melting this butter. Try to touch it as little as possible with your meaty hands while you're fumbling with it. And keep it in the fridge in between fumbles. You need a little more than a cup of flour, like a heaping cup. A half teaspoon of salt. Whoops. Stir it in. Get those butter cubes in there and kind of toss them around in the flour so that your hot hands don't touch the butter directly. And then you're going to squish each little cube one at a time. And you're just breaking them up into the flour. It's a delicate process because you want to squish them all, but you don't want to melt that butter. I'm going to keep saying that because that's the only important thing here. You can also use 2 forks to do this, or maybe you have a pastry cutter. That works too. Break it up into, they always say, pea-sized pieces, sort of-ish, but it's kind of like a crumbly mess. We're being careful because we want whole pieces of butter in there that are not melted. Add a few splashes of that ice water just to help all of this stick together. Stop touching it now. You want it to look crumbly and messy. That's perfect. Shape it into like a fat disc and wrap it up. Again, if I were making a pie that needed a top, I would have just doubled this and had 2 discs. Throw that in the fridge for 1 hour. Oh yeah, if I had a food processor, I could have done all that in a few seconds. While that's chilling for an hour, let's do the eggy part. We're gonna go only 4 eggs because we're gonna have a bunch of fillings. A little bit of salt and pepper, you don't need a lot. A cup of half and half. I like to put in some herbs, that's optional. I don't know why I whipped out the machine here. I was Amish this whole time. And then you can whisk it by hand. Not a big deal. I have no idea what I was thinking. A little handful of feta and a little handful of Asiago. I stopped measuring here and eyeball it. Fillings. I'm going 3 strips of bacon, oven roasted tomatoes, and spinach that I had left over. Oh, I have no footage of that for some reason. Do you care? No, you know what spinach looks like. But you can do whatever fillings you want, up to 2 cups. This has chilled for 1 hour. Flour your surface. Flour the rolling pin. Flour anything you don't want to stick to. And roll it out into a big circle or whatever. Yeah, that kind of sort of shape. When you see little pieces of butter in your dough, you know you did it right. These little pastry scraper cutter things are great. Peel that up, place it into the pie pan, fill in the little holes with the longer pieces. Yeah, squish it in there. And then do these little pinchy, crimpy things around the edge. Pinchy, crimpy, won't you pinch my crimpy? Crimpy, pinchy, won't you pinch my crimpy? I molested it quite a bit, so you know what? Protect that butter at all costs. Put it in the fridge a few more minutes. Now we're going to par bake this. Use some parchment paper and some pie weights, or dry beans or uncooked rice do the same thing. Just 15 minutes. Then take it out, remove the pie weights, poke some holes, then back in the oven for 7 to 8 minutes. then voila! You have a perfectly par-cooked pie crust ready for your filling. And now, my friends, the hard part is done. It's easy sailing from this point on. Pour in that lovely egg mixture.
I would always be bloated and my stomach was always upset.
Stick it in the oven and live your life for 45 minutes.
I'm gonna tell you all my secrets.
Take it out of the oven. Do a toothpick test. Make sure there's no raw egg on that toothpick. Let it rest for a couple of minutes so the puffiness goes down. Then enjoy it. Review. You're gonna take cold butter, flour, a little salt, and some ice water. Mix until crumbly and bring together with some ice water. Then cover and chill in the fridge for an hour. Roll it out and bake that pie crust. Then throw in your egg mixture of 4 eggs, 1 cup of half and half, your cheese and your fillings. Bake it for 45 minutes and enjoy. Thanks, me. Thanks for watching. Check out Patreon for more. I would always be bloated and my stomach was always upset.